2020 is finally coming to a close, and I cannot believe I'm already making this video. Like, it still feels like last year where I was naming Toy Story 4 as my favorite film of 2019, throwing in an Uncut Gems in there, Midsummer, The Farewell, and what a brilliant year that was. I went into this year thinking it was just gonna be even better, and then everything happened. And, you know, I actually saw more new films this year than I did last year, but I can't even imagine how many I could have seen if it wasn't for this pandemic. I saw over 157 films, and I still am planning doing a live stream of me ranking every single one of those from worst to best, and I hope you guys will join me for that. But in today's video, we're going over my top 10 favorite films of 2020. This was a very hard list to make. I do have some honorable mentions that I will get to in the middle of this video. But guys, this is my wholeheartedly opinion. If you don't agree with any of these, that's okay. Make sure to comment down below and let me know what your top 10 films from 2020 were. There were a lot of great movies, and definitely I cannot wait to discuss these with you guys. So without further ado, let's get started. Down at my number 10 is going to be Pieces of a Woman, the brand new film starring Vanessa Kirby and Shia LaBeouf. Now, we're not going to get too much into Shia LaBeouf because of everything going around him, but this film made it into my top 10 for the easy stature of Vanessa Kirby's performance. I've always really liked her as an actress, but she has not gotten that role yet that signified her as being this like Oscar champion. Well, honestly, if it wasn't for one other lady on this list that also had fantastic performances here, my main pick for every Best Actress winner this next upcoming award season. I say that because Pieces of a Woman deals with a big tragedy where this lady loses her baby. And now where does she go next in life? You know, this movie kind of harkens back to, you know, Manchester by the Sea, which if you'd seen that film, that is a very hard film to watch and a very depressing one. Pieces of a Woman is as well. But it's more intense. It's more driven. You're on the edge of your seat, especially within the first 30 minutes, which is pretty much a complete one-shot take. And a lot of the film is played out in being the much of a play, but it feels like an actual film. It feels real. It feels like you were there with this lady going through everything that she is experiencing. For me, Pieces of a Woman absolutely attached me to this character, and it was hard for me to ever really stop thinking about this film, especially because of Vanessa Kirby's performance. And when it comes to a film year, I always like to put one major film in here because of performance, and Vanessa Kirby absolutely swept me away. Coming down at my number 9 is going to be The Invisible Man. This is a movie that I just keep coming back to this year. It's one that I didn't truly expect to love this much, but I absolutely fell in love with. The trailer and the initial premise for this I was excited about because the original Invisible Man, that classic movie, I adore. I think it's fun. I mean, out of the Universal monster movies, that and Creature from the Black Lagoon were always my favorites. But what Leigh Whannell does with this new film, this remake of a classic Universal monster, he's already made pretty much a modern day classic that I can't wait to see where and how people experience this later down the years when years come past. There are so many twists and turns in here that had my jaw drop. I mean, come on, that restaurant scene, it showed us that no one was safe no matter where you were. It's just one of the few moments in there that kept me on the edge of my seat. It's a film that I truly was driven to. I sat on the edge of my seat my entire time in the theater, and the constant times that I bought it on a 4K, I just love revisiting this film more and telling people to watch it, and watching it with my family was a fun experience as well. There are some cheesy moments into here, but for me, Elizabeth Moss's performance absolutely runs in strides. Aldous Hodge is incredible in this, and I really adored this film. I loved it. It was spooky, it was scary, it was intense, and it's absolutely one of my favorite films of 2020. Coming down at my number 8 is Minari. I've seen this film about 3 times. It is not out in theaters yet, but it is getting a limited theatrical run this year, and as well going to next year. It does come out in February, but this film is so touching. I really do hope it does get nominated at the Oscars, and I just saw what the Golden Globes said, putting it for international film. It should not be, sir. It should not be whatsoever. This is an American-made film, but this is a movie that just charms your pants off, and it's about this Korean family that wants to live their American dream. And I love that. Steven Yeun is in here, from who most notably was famous in The Walking Dead for playing Glenn, and ever since he left that show, This guy has been just running strides in every single one of his performances. Every role this guy chooses is astonishing, amazing. And Minari, this guy should absolutely be nominated. It is a very tough year for Best Actor. My number one Best Actor his film didn't get in this, but we'll definitely talk about it in my honorable mentions. But if he's not nominated, like, that's a travesty, because his performance in here is unlike anything else. And the supporting cast also surrounding him is also phenomenal. The young kid in here, wow, incredible. Also, the grandmother in here that has this relationship with the kid, again, sweet, sincere, charming, delicate, but felt so real. Like, really felt like you were living the American dream with him as just a guy who wants to make a farm. It's so amazing. Adding in as well, the score, the direction, the writing were also all superb. Going down to my number 7. Now, a lot of people, I understand, this is not your favorite film of the year. A lot of people are very disappointed in this, but understand this is my opinion. And this film struck a chord with me that I did not expect it to, especially on a second rewatch. And that is Wonder Woman 1984. I went into this film with such high expectations. And this is coming from someone who isn't the biggest fan of the original Wonder Woman. I think the original one is really good. But for me, this one was even better. And again, I'm sure many of you guys have already turned off this video and been like, oh my god, how do you include that? I've seen all the discourse, I've seen all the hate on the film. But you gotta understand, I don't think this is like the best made film, but this is my favorite film of 2020. This is one of my favorites. And I love what this film said about enthusiasm, about hope, about optimism. It came out at the perfect time. And what this film made me remember was that first time that I ever saw Christopher Reeve's Superman take flight. That first moment that I ever saw Sam Raimi's Spider-Man swing around. That's what this film made me feel. So much so that I just adored it to every single light. And yes, could I have easily moved a different film in this section? Absolutely. But on a second rewatch, this film hit me even harder. I know it has its small issues for me, but those issues that other people are having, I don't. I love the cheesiness. I love the enthusiasm. I love how they portrayed a lot of the action set pieces. And I did get to see this film in theaters. And I know many people aren't able to, but maybe that makes a difference. I love what Patty Jenkins was able to direct in here. I know, again, I'm not trying to defend the film too much. I just want to have a great jovial discussion, and I want to let you guys know why I love this film so much. Like, you know, my initial review, I said I really, really like it. It's really great. And then the more and more I kept thinking about it, I just couldn't get out of my mind. Plus, Pedro Pascal, whew! Best DCU villain coming at you. Well, at least the performance-wise. Down at my number 6 is going to be Promising Young Woman. Now, I mentioned earlier in this video that there's one actress who, it's above Vanessa Kirby for me right now, and that's Carey Mulligan from Promising Young Woman. If she does not win, if she does not even get nominated, a travesty. And I'm honestly ready to already be expecting that she's not going to get nominated at all. I think this is the Jake Gyllenhaal Nightcrawler type situation probably coming up. And I hope it's not. Hopefully Promising Young Woman gets nominated for everything, because it deserves it. This is a movie that it shouldn't work. On paper, it shouldn't work. But Emerald Fernella, the brand new director of this, first time debut, made it work. I saw this film back at Sundance, and it was a film that consistently couldn't stop playing around in my head. And I saw it again with my girlfriend, and I saw it again by myself to really definitively place where is this going to go on my top 10. I knew it had to be in here. But it's a goddamn great movie. This is again one of the best films of the year, one of the best made films of the year, and the way that it switches tonally throughout the whole entire film works. And again, it shouldn't, but it does because of the writing and directing here. Carey Mulligan just knocks an all-star performance out. She's always been an excellent actor, but this is just next level. Again, this isn't the type of film that you would expect from the trailer. The trailer very much is not great at marketing this film. It kind of subjects it to a different type of tone, while at the same time giving away multiple moments that did not need to be seen in the trailer. Hated that it did that, but again, for people who didn't get to see that trailer or didn't really look into it that much, Promising Young Woman is still an experience worth taking. The last third act of this film is absolutely jaw-dropping, shocking, twist and turn here and there, and then the last 5 minutes is some of the most satisfying that I've ever felt during an ending. And it seems like I'm in the minority on that, but I loved it, and I hope you guys do as well. Guys, before we hit to my top 5, make sure to again hit that like and subscribe, and so we can keep talking movies over here on a daily basis. I love talking movies. I'm sure you do as well if you're over here. So this is the channel for you guys. Hit that like and subscribe button. Comment down below your ranking, your top 10 favorite films of 2020. I need to hear it. I can't wait to read them and reply back to you guys and really talk about what other films. And yes, again, this is my list. list, guys, so do understand that. But I do have some honorable mentions I really do want to share, and I almost considered doing a top 25 list of this year because there are a lot of great films. So let's just kind of dive into them. The Way Back with Ben Affleck, great. Sylvie's Love, adorable. Happiest Season, I truly, really adored if you haven't seen that Christmas movie. Bill and Ted Face the Music, you know, nostalgic-wise, I love Keanu Reeves, I love Bill Winter in those roles. Small Axe, I know a lot of people have been in the discourse, is it a TV film, is it a film? I don't know. I don't care. Small Axe is an amazing series, but my favorite one from there was Lovers Rock. It truly felt like the party that I always wanted to go to, and it made me miss my friends and family so much. Devil All the Time, excellent movie as well. It's very dark, very... I don't even know what else to say about that movie. That is something else. Possessor, a movie that I absolutely hated walking out of, and I couldn't get the damn film out of my mind, and I've seen it like 3 times now. Beastie Boys Story, amazing film, and some of these films you also might see on my top 10 most underrated films of 2020, because I definitely want to speak about those. Birds of Prey, I adored, I loved it. Bad Boys for Life, One Night in Miami, Mank, Nomadland, Onward, really loved Onward. Trial of the Chicago 7, which I adored to pieces. Da 5 Bloods. Now, these next two, Da 5 Bloods and Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, they were like this close. Like, I kept switching these in and out, in and out, in and out. So these are definitely my two, 11 and 12, which is Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which features Chadwick Boseman's last performance. And if he doesn't win for it, it's fucking rigged. I mean, honest to God, no matter what you think about that film, if you're not a fan of August Wilson's plays and the scripts, and I'm not a major fan of Fences, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom is an excellent film, by the way. But his performance, it's next level. It's absolutely incredible. Viola Davis in it as well is also amazing. Then going back to Da 5 Bloods, which I absolutely love. Chadwick Boseman's also great in there. Delroy Lindo, it gives the best one of the best performances of the year as well. I was just taken back by those two films in particular, and it was really hard not to put them in my top 10 list, but I digress. Let's get back into it. Now at my number 5 is going to be Another Round. This is the international film starring Mads Mikkelsen, and I loved it. This film better be nominated for international film. I would even argue that Mads Mikkelsen should be nominated because it's just about him and his friends deciding, hey, we can drink alcohol, get our alcohol level to a certain tolerance, and see how it affects our daily lives. And it feels like The Hangover, but more... not as a straight up comedy, but more as a dramedy. But the way that this whole goes about is one of the best things of 2020. I didn't do a just dedicated review to this. I saw it at TIFF, but I did do a written review. And the more and more I think about Another Round, the more and more I love it. Mads Mikkelsen's performance is absolutely all-star in here. And my favorite thing about this was the final scene of him dancing, which you've probably seen on the internet everywhere. This is a film you must see. It's so great. The director knows exactly how he's directing. He directed Mads Mikkelsen in The Hunt, which is also an excellent movie if you haven't seen that one yet either. That you know, 2 wildly different movies, but 2 that you guys definitely should see. Another Round just made me want to take another round, go drink some alcohol with my friends, have some fun, and I think it's going to do the exact same thing for you. Down at my number 4 was my favorite film from Sundance 2020, and that is Palm Springs. I adored this film to pieces. It was a film that it was my most anticipated too, and I went into it hoping I wasn't going to get, you know, well, I was hoping I wouldn't get disappointed, and I wasn't. Andy Samberg turns in one of his best performances yet, because while this is really much drafted as a comedy, it has a lot more heart and soul to it than you would actually expect, and 2 of the other films coming up on this list definitely feel those same ways. But Palm Springs was just so enjoyable. It was so funny, laugh out loud, but the meaning of life that really comes out of this film, and the consequences, and, you know, what if you could relive every other day and you couldn't die? What would you do? How would that be about, and how would life really come about you? Palm Springs answers those questions in such a unique fashion that especially comes about in Christina Miliotti's performance, which is one of my also favorite performances of the year. If it was up to me, I would probably nominate her for Best Supporting Actress or Best Actress, whichever one they want to do. I'm not saying she should win, but she definitely deserves the nomination for what she was able to do in this film. Hope if you haven't seen Palm Springs yet, you definitely pull up your Hulu account and go and watch it, because it's definitely a must-watch from me. Coming down at my number 3 is the true blockbuster spectacle that I saw this year that, again, not everyone loved, but I absolutely loved every minute of it, and it was Tenet. I've seen this film about 3 times now, and it's still just as incredible. From the score, the direction, the writing, I adored every single moment of all of those, but also the performances in the world, the atmosphere, that Christopher Nolan truly built into here was one of the most unique things. You know, John David Washington truly is a household name, and I can't wait to see what he does next as an actor, but as an action hero in this, and especially just his character named the protagonist, I think that adds a lot of depth and really putting us into his shoes. Robert Pattinson just nails the charisma that he brings about here, and Neil, and the small attention to detail things throughout the entire story that just continuously keep going on, and on multiple rewatches you pick up on more and more, and that's what I love about a Christopher Nolan film, that it just, you are paid off every single time you rewatch a film. And you know, if you didn't enjoy it, you don't want to watch it again, that's okay, I understand. For me, Tenet, sitting in a theater, coming back after multiple months of not being able to sit in a movie theater and being but being with my girlfriend and being able to sit in that theater, sit back and relax and enjoy this film, it was absolutely stellar. Being able to go back a couple days later and take one of my best friends to see the film and get his enjoyment out of it was truly awe-inspiring. Love Tenet for a lot of different reasons. I think all the action set pieces are so on the edge of your seat. I think the cinematography is beautiful. Again, Ludwig just kills the score, and I can't get this film out of my mind. It's easily become one of the most rewatchable films that I've seen this year. And again, I know it's long, I know there's a lot to it, but I love those really intellectual, like, blockbusters that maybe are really confusing, but I love being able to dissect and intersect and really much bring about my own theories, and that's what I've always loved about Nolan's films. Coming out at my number 2. Oh god. You want to know what the meaning of life is? Definitely see this film. 9 Days has not come out yet, sadly. It came out and debuted at Sundance. It also was at AFI Film Festival and a couple others. And it was supposed to be out in January, but that is not a thing now. It's coming out next summer, and you guys should definitely make sure to put it on your watch list, because whoo-wee. I saw this at the premiere at Sundance, and I walked out of the film in absolutely tears. I felt like a changed man after seeing that movie, and it's truly inspiring, to say the least, because again, if you want to know what the meaning of life is, 9 Days will definitely tell you that. Winston Duke turns in, personally, the second best performance of 2020 for me. Zazie Beetz is charismatic, beautiful, and also just at the same time, very much, I'm trying to think of the word, it's a nuanced performance that she hasn't given yet, and it's very much a fish out of water performance that I think really adds a lot of depth to what's going on in this, and the world that was built inside this very original film. And even adding in Bill Skarsgård's really good in here. Of course, Benedict is also great in here as well. He does a fantastic job. 9 Days is just excels in its directing, the writing, and that main performance from Winston Duke. And again, if you want to know what the meaning of life is, 9 Days will definitely tell you that it's truly going to change me. But so will my number 1. So let's get to that. My number 1 favorite film of 2020. God, the last 3 years, it's all been animated films. You know, Spider-Verse, Toy Story 4, and now Soul. I did not expect for Soul to be this great. And I should have, because it's Pete Docter directing it. He directed Up, he directed Inside Out, he directed Monsters, Inc., which I all adore. Soul and 9 Days, in a sense, are kind of the best double feature that you could possibly have. And a lot of my themes this year was really finding your place in this world, the meaning of life, and again, what is your purpose when you don't know actually your purpose? I've been in a weird kick on that lately, because I did graduate college this year, and you know, last year was kind of building up to that. In Toy Story 4, I found a lot of meaning of that stuff, but these kind of even doubled down even more on it. And Soul opened my heart out in so many different ways. And, you know, again, you could even ask that same question, what is the meaning of life? I think Soul could even tell you that as well. I think it's the most adult Pixar film yet. It's still funny, it's still hilarious, but it's at the same time, like, near and dear. It really attacks you on a personal level and really just screams, like, maybe what you think is your purpose is not. I actually think this is one of the most inspiring, moving, and emotional journeys that I've seen all year long. It deserves a standing ovation. It kills me that I wasn't able to see this in theaters, but it's also really cool that it's on Disney Plus, so now everyone can enjoy it. Through its humor, its heart, its soul, and the magic that it brings to the Disney screen, Soul is one of Pixar's biggest accomplishments yet. It absolutely just hit me as hard as I could, and I can't get the film out of my mind. I cannot wait to rewatch this film. I can't wait to show it to my girlfriend. I can't wait to show it to my family. I can't wait to express it more to my friends to all go watch it. I think this is a film that if you are in a weird part of your life where you're just trying to figure out what that next step is for you, Soul will attack you on a personal level, but I think it might wake you up to look at more than just that one singular vision that you have. I think it opens up to a whole bunch of different visions, and the world of New York City has never been more beautiful in an animated film, or in general probably any film ever. Soul brings that to life from the directing, the writing, and Kemp Powers, my god, you did One Night in Miami and this. What else are you doing next, man? Sell me. I cannot wait. Soul is the best film of 2020. It's the best film I've seen all year. And man, oh man, 2020 was one hell of a year for movies, and 2021 hopefully will be the exact same way. Guys, that's my top 10 list for 2020. Thank you so much for joining me on this, guys. I had a blast talking with you guys. I do have more videos coming out soon. Top 10 underrated movies, my ranking of all the films I saw this year, a 31 on 31 ranking list with, of course, Sean Chandler, Cody Leach, and Will Scream, and a couple others as well. We'll be ranking the Tarantino, the Fincher, and the Nolan films. That'll be a blast. Also, I am a part of the Movies Club, so make sure to also look out for that. I'll be finally doing some of the lists that they have been doing, which is like Ren, Rachel, and mainly movies, and also LC Screen Talk, and even more. But guys, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I have a blast doing this list every single year, and I hope you guys enjoyed this list. I hope you guys agree with me. If you don't, that's okay. I can't wait to see your list. Make sure to head on over to Samsung Films on how to see films early though. And as well, guys, thank you so much if you're our Patreon supporter. This has been a great year. It's not as great as last year's subscriber base, but still, my audience has been a very great on retention, especially with everything going on in the pandemic, and I couldn't have done this without you guys. So thank you so much. Of course, until next time though, stay classy, stay safe, and I'll see you in the new year.